Let's just all sit up with a nice tall spine, lifting up from the crown of our head as though a little string is holding our head up from the ceiling. And let's go ahead and take our shoulders and reach them up towards our ears, roll them open, creating some space in our collarbone so we can begin to connect our breath. And this next hour or thereabouts is completely for you. So put aside any to-do lists, anything that you are worried about or thinking about. It's easy for the mind to gravitate back to that. Just let all that go and give this time to you and stay right here in the right now in the present. Begin to breathe, breathing deeply in from the belly, up through the chest, in through the collarbone, up through the back of the throat, and then exhale out through your nose or pursed lips. And do that again. Deep breath in from the belly, up through the chest and collarbone, in through the back of your throat, maybe sip in a little more air, and then exhale out through your nose or pursed lips. This is your Ujjayi yoga breath. And as you continue to do this, you're going to find that you start to hear your breath in the back of your throat. And deep breath in from the belly, sipping in a little more air. Exhale it out through your nose. Hear that breath in the back of your throat. If at any time your mind starts to wander during today's practice, just go back to your breath. So a good time right now to set an intention for today's practice. It could be a word, kindness, maybe patience if you struggle with a pose, maybe gratitude if you're able to do a pose you didn't think you were able to do. Maybe it's a goal. And we set an intention for that same reason. It keeps us focused, and if our mind starts to wander, we can always go right back to that intention and bring ourselves back into the here and to the now. Let's take one more breath together. Deep breath in from the belly. Exhale through your nose or pursed lips. And go ahead and open your eyes, and let's take a few stretches. So sitting up with that nice tall spine, sit bones firmly pressed into the mat, go ahead and place your fingertips on either side of your body. We're going to reach up towards the ceiling on the inhale. Inhale up. And then on the exhale, we're going to take a little stretch over to the right side. You can press your right elbow into the mat. And then inhale right back up, reaching up towards the ceiling. Exhale, take a stretch over towards the left side of the mat. Let's do 3 more just like that. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, take a little bend. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, little bend. Inhale, reach up. Exhale. Inhale, up. Exhale, bend. And then let's come back to a neutral position. You can just place your hands right on your knees. And once again, let's lift our shoulders up towards our ears, roll them back open, and we're going to do a few neck stretches. So taking your right hand, reaching it all the way across to your left ear. On your next breath, just pull your neck, pulling your right ear towards your shoulder. Feeling a nice stretch through your neck. We hold a lot of tension in our necks, in our upper backs. And then releasing that, taking that same hand and placing it on the back of your skull. And this time we're going to move our neck, feeling a nice stretch. And then release this. Great thing to do if you've slept wrong and you have a crick in your neck. Let's go ahead and take it on the other side. Next breath, go ahead and take your right hand, reach it all the way around, press it onto your ear, and then slowly draw it down, feeling that stretch on the right side, hearing your breath in the back of your throat. And then releasing that, taking your left hand and putting it on the back of your skull, and that same thing, just drawing it down towards your side. And just a little side note here on the right side, you can do it to the right shoulder. Deep breath out. And then we're going to take some full body rolls. Taking your hands, you can press them down on your mat or even the floor in front of you. Just press them down. Arms lengthen, and then they bend, rolling out. You're going to feel this stretch in the back. And then let's go ahead and rotate, reverse those rotations towards the left on the opposite side. And then coming up to neutral. Let's backtrack and do our shoulders. Our shoulders hold a lot of tension as well. So taking your hands and just placing them onto the shoulders themselves, just shining your elbows towards that wall in front of you, begin to make some rotations, touching the elbows as you circle around. And then let's reverse those in the opposite direction as well. And if you feel a little popping, don't worry. A lot of times it's just air. Now let's do something for our wrists and our hands. Fingers wide, pulling the hands back towards your body, and just imagining almost a glass screen or a glass window right in front of you that you're pressing up against. Maybe the shoulders even come out a little bit. And you're pressing, 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 feeling it in your forearms, in your wrists. Then we're going to take care of our fingers. We're going to dial down the right side. And with our left hand, we're going to give a little tug to each finger. And we're going to take this hand, our left hand, and reach around when we get to the thumb. And then just dial that hand back up on the right side and then dial it down on the left side. We're going to do that same thing. We use our wrists so much in our down dogs and our tables. So we want to take care of them. And then reach around and just pull back on that thumb. And then just go ahead and shake out your hands. Nice work. On your next breath, go ahead and bring both feet out forward if they're not already there. And draw your toes up towards the ceiling. That in itself is a very nice stretch. And then let's take our right leg, bend it, and then pick it up and put the foot just right outside. We're going to reach out with the right hand, wrap it around, take the left hand, reach it behind us. Try to see the wall right behind you. Just look over that left shoulder. Breath travels down the spine. And then turn on back around. And let's go ahead and stay in this position. And let's make this a little juicier. Try to bend the left knee. And we're going to do that same stretch that we just did, only this time with the left knee bent. Take the left hand, reach it behind you, and once again, turn and look at that wall behind you, getting a nice stretch. Thinking, inhale, exhale. Breath travels up the spine. Breath travels down the spine. And then go ahead and rotate back around, and let's set it up on the left side. So bending that left knee, go ahead and take that foot and place it right outside the outside edge of that right leg. Take your left arm, wrap it around, right hand goes back behind you, and give a little twist. Breathing and noticing if sides are a little different. Maybe it works on this side, maybe it's not so comfortable. If it's not, just stay in the way that it is comfortable, and then go ahead and reach that left arm out. Wrap it around, taking the right hand, reaching it back. Breath travels up the spine. Breath travels down the spine. And then come back to neutral. Let's go ahead and just bend our knees. Take your hands, just place them behind you. And let's heel toe our feet out, kind of knocking our knees together. Breath in. Exhale out, and then heel toe your feet back together, and just let your knees fall side to side. relieving a little bit of tension. Your hips can move along with. And then on your next breath, we're going to make our way into a tabletop. And this is where it may come in handy to have a prop. Just gives a little extra padding. If you don't have any of these props, not to worry, you can also use your mat. And you can just pull your mat and double it. And that way you have some extra padding. So lots of options here. I'm going to give you a little bit of direction here that you're going to hear me say throughout today's practice. And I just like to remind, I think that when we're in a tabletop and in a downward facing dog, it can put a little added strain and pressure on the wrists, but there's a little way around that. If you have your hands just kind of dead hands on your mat, that's going to really be hard on the wrists. If you activate the hands, if you actually press into your mat with your fingertips, almost like spider fingers, keeping those hands just as active as you can, you will notice that you won't have as much wrist pain or any pain at the end of your practice. It's just a great habit to get into, and I'll try to remind you throughout our practice today. So let's go ahead and come into what we're going to do next on our table. Let's take some cat-cows here. So when we take our breath in, we're going to come into a cow pose. And then exhale for cat. And then we're going to come into cow, drawing your chin towards your chest. Exhale for cat. Inhale, I'm sorry, I said that backwards. Inhale for cat, drawing your chin to your chest. Exhale for cow. Cow is where your stomach is coming down towards the mat. And then one more. Inhale for cow, drawing your chin towards your chest. Exhale for cat. Getting warmed up. Then on your next breath, go ahead and extend your right hand, thumb facing the ceiling, and extend your left foot. It's a little bit of a balance. And we're going to hold this, and then we're going to take a little exercise move here. Inhaling in. So inhale in, and then exhale out. We're going to do two more just like that. Inhale, touch your knee to your elbow. Exhale out. One more just like this. Inhale in, exhale out, and then here comes our balance. Breath, you can reach back around, grab your toe, and lift it up towards the ceiling. We're going to hold this. I'm going to count it out. So choose which position you like for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice work. And then leave the foot up and just put your palm down. We're going to work our glutes here. Pointing the toe. On your next inhale, lift the toe up towards the ceiling. We're going to do several of these. Just continuing for 2 breaths. Breath travels up the spine. Breath travels down the spine. Go ahead and lower that down. Go ahead and reach your hips back towards your heels and make these really exaggerated circles, almost as if you have a hula hoop from when you were a child. Reverse those circles in the opposite direction. In the back of your throat. All right, we're going to go ahead and do the left side. So reaching out with your left hand, thumb facing the ceiling, reaching back with your right foot, toes facing the floor. We're going to do 3 knee touches. So inhale, knee to elbow. Exhale, out. Inhale, knee to elbow. Exhale, and then our balance. So stay here or reach around behind. And we're going to count this out for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then go ahead and leave the foot up in the air and just place your palms down, press those fingertips into the mat, making those little indentions, and begin lifting up. This is so good for your glutes. Great if you sit a lot during the day at a desk. And just do this for another breath. Breath travels up the spine. Breath travels down the spine. And then go ahead and release that. Go ahead and press your hips back towards your heels. And let's go ahead and turn this into a twisted child's pose. Get a little stretch there. So on your next breath, go ahead and reach up with the right arm and then just thread it underneath the left arm. And let's stay here for 3 breaths. Breath travels up the spine. And breath travels down the spine. Inhale. Exhale. 1 more. Deep breath in. Exhale out. And then go ahead and press up into a neutral child's pose. So let's take a breath here. Deep breath in. Exhale it out. And then inhale the left arm up. Exhale it, thread it right underneath the right. Same practice here. Just go ahead and walk the fingers forward on the right side. Breath travels up the spine. Breath travels down the spine. Inhale. Exhale. And then go back to your neutral position. Nice work. Tuck the toes, and we're going to come into our first downward facing dog. So go ahead and just lift up your knees, maybe just an inch from the mat. And then go ahead and just lift those hips all the way up. Take your gaze to the back wall. And then lower the other heel, bend the opposite knee. Seeing how that feels. You might hear some popping. And then on your next breath, go ahead and come up onto your tippy toes. Exaggerate that as much as you can. And then on your next breath, rotate your heels towards the right wall. Lift up through your hips. You're going to feel a nice stretch up and down that left thigh, all the way down to the ankle. And then go ahead and release this, coming up on your tippy toes. Spin your toes around so that the heels face the left wall. And then once again, lift up through your hips, feeling that nice stretch up and down the right leg. This is great for sciatica, any kind of that back pain. And then go ahead and come back to neutral. You can stay on your tippy toes here, or you can come on down. You might now want to go ahead and move your prop, your towel if you had that. And we're going to walk our feet up to our hands. Walk them up. Once you reach there, I'm going to turn and face you. Let's turn this into a ragdoll. Put a little bend into your knees. You can clasp your hands together, place them on the back of your skull, and press in with your palms, giving yourself a little head massage. Might feel nice. Or you can take your hands and interlace them at the elbows and just maybe shake your head yes. And shake your head no. And then slowly, slowly drop your hands. And let's begin to rise. Just one vertebra at a time. Slowly, slowly, slowly coming up. The head's the very last thing to come up. And once the head is up, let's go ahead and reach up for the ceiling into a mountain pose. Maybe you lift all 10 toes. Maybe you spread all 10 fingers. Tuck the tailbone. Reaching up for the ceiling. I'm going to turn this way. And then on your next breath, we're going to take a fold. Exhale, take a fold. Let your head just hang. You can go ahead and press your hands into the mat. And then on your next breath, go ahead and send that right leg back. Coming into a low lunge. You can drop the knee if you'd like. Flatten the foot, or you can keep it active. Eventually, we're going to work our way up into a warrior one. So, if you don't have your knee down, go ahead. If you do have your knee down, go ahead and place it back up. And go ahead and rise up into your warrior one, taking your time, planting that back foot so that on a clock it would look like it's at about 2 o'clock. So you might even want to take a little look back there, make sure it's planted and you're aligned. Bending the knee so it's stacked just right over your ankle. I'm going to face this way. Take a deep breath in. Exhale out. Make a fist and rotate your wrists a little bit. Inhale. Reverse those. Exhale. And then from here, let's turn this into a warrior two. So just fanning open, I'm going to face you, coming into a warrior two. And check to make sure you can see your big toe, your little toe. Your gaze is right in between your fingertips. Maybe put a little more bend in the knee. Make sure that it's stacked right over that ankle. And if your knee's flailing out, just draw it right back to that center line. Making sure you're breathing. Let's take another breath in. Exhale it out. And we're going to turn this into a little dance. So take another breath in. And then on the exhale, wrap your right hand around you and reach up for the ceiling, reversing your warrior. And then exhale, warrior two. Inhale, warrior, reverse warrior. Exhale, warrior two. Nice work. On your next breath, let's go ahead and just rotate. Turn on the same side as you. Rotate at the waist. And let's go ahead and inhale our arms up on the inhale. Exhale the arms back down. And send that leg right back. Just send it back. And you can come back into a tabletop. You can even take a child's pose here. We're eventually going to come back into our upward facing dog and do it on the other side. So make any movements that you need to make, a cat-cow or just any kind of wiggle side to side. If you're in child's, you can go ahead and start to come up from that. And let's all go ahead and tuck our toes and meet in that downward facing dog, gazing at that back wall, squeezing your fingers into the mat, keeping our wrists safe. Bring that left leg forward. Working your way. And you can do it the same way you did before. If you want to start out with your knee down, flatten your foot and work your way into it. There's no rush, there's no hurry. But eventually coming into your warrior one on your left side, reaching up for the ceiling. And I realize this is a bit of a balance pose. So if you find that you're a little wobbly on one side, just take your gaze to the floor. Find a spot and just gaze. And holding this. Let's stay here for another breath. Inhale. Exhale. And then go ahead and turn this into a warrior two. And hearing your breath, we're going to do that same little thing we did on the right side, that little dance. Checking your alignment, making sure you can see your big toe. Go ahead and reach that arm back behind. Lift up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, warrior two. And then that same thing on the next breath, go ahead and just rotate at the waist. Go ahead and press your palms down. We're going to do it a little different this time. This time you're going to just step back that right foot and you're already in a fold. So just let your head rest. Let your arms rest. Bend a little in your knees. And then on your next breath, go ahead and turn this into a halfway lift. Flat back. Really flat back. It's easy to arch up, but just roll your shoulders back, create some space in the collarbone. Keep your gaze straight ahead at the floor so you don't strain your neck. And holding this, imagining maybe a glass of water that cannot spill on your back. And then let's take another fold. And then on your next breath, come into a chair pose. Reaching your arms up, almost sitting back like you're sitting in one of those little kindergarten chairs. I'm gonna face you here. Tucking your tailbone in, And go ahead and cactus your arms, squeezing your shoulder blades together towards that back wall. I'm going to do a little bit of balance here. And lift all 10 toes as you're holding this. And I realize this is an intense pose. Your thighs are shaking and quaking, but we're building our strength. Now for the balance. Let's try to come up on our tippy toes. Nice work. And if you need to, sink a little lower. Holding it. And then exhale, take a fold. Rest here. Let your head just hang, bend your knees. Let your chest just rest onto your thighs. And then on your next breath, take another halfway lift, flat back. So flat, you could put a glass of water on it and it would not spill. And then on your next breath, go ahead and press your palms back down. Let's come back into our tabletop. And you can get your little prop here to protect your knees. Coming into that table. And let's take a cat-cow here. Breathing in for cow. Exhaling for cat. Breathing in for cow. Exhaling for cat. Nice work. And then on your next breath, check your fingertips, make sure they're pressed into your mat, and take your right leg and just extend it right behind you. Toe is active. And then on the next breath, extend the left leg. Now, if this is too much, bring the knee down and just keep one knee down. Our goal here is to get down to our bellies in a graceful, respectful way. So on your next breath, go ahead and rock forward just a little bit. Squeeze your elbows in towards the ribs and just come on down as slowly and as gently as you're able. And you can either keep your propped here or you can remove it, whatever you're comfortable with. And once you're down, go ahead and press your right ear into the mat. Just press it in and take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Let's do one more just like that. Deep breath in. Deep exhale out. And then on your next breath, we're going to take a locust pose, but I'm going to change it up a little bit and make it a little fun. It's going to be a Superman pose. So I'll give you a choice. You can take a traditional locust where you're going to lift your hands up and your chest up and your legs up. Only your belly button is drawing towards the mat and drawing towards your spine. Or you can reach out in front of you as though you're flying like Superman. So your choice. On your next breath, go ahead and lift up and reach forward or reach to the sides for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Nice work. Go ahead and press your left ear into the mat. Take a deep breath in, deep breath out. Breath travels up the spine. Breath travels down the spine. And then on your next breath, bring your hands just right in front of your shoulders. Come up on your elbows, and we're taking a Sphinx pose here. And you're going to notice a little arch in your back. We're just going to hold this. Just hearing our breath as we breathe in through our mouth, through our nose, and out through our nose. Do that again. Breathing in through our nose and out through your nose or pursed lips. And press yourself up onto your mat. We're actually not going to be on our knees, so we can remove our towel or our pad. And we're going to take a hero's pose here. So tucking your toes underneath you and making sure that little baby toe gets some action as well. We're just going to sit on our feet, sitting up with a nice tall spine. I'm going to count this out for you. This is really good for plantar fasciitis, or if you wear uncomfortable shoes, just really good for the feet. And you can go ahead and, while we're here, take your hands, make a fist, and rotate those wrists out. Get a little bit of a break here. We're just going to stay for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice work. It's not always very comfortable. And then take your hands, press them in front of you. We're not going to be on our knees long. Flatten your feet and just kind of paddle them out, giving the toes some relief. And then we're going to press right back on to our heels, stretching out our ankles. And we're just going to sit here. And once again, you can use this time to rotate those wrists. And I'm going to count this out for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. From here, go ahead and bring your hips to the left side. Swing your legs around on the right side. We're finding a respectable way to get down onto our backs. So go ahead and come back onto your back. You can go ahead and bend the knees here and just relax the hands. Maybe heel toe your feet out to about hip distance. And then draw your knees to the right. Inhale up, exhale, draw them to the left. And just inhaling, exhaling, your windshield wiping your knees side to side. The hips can move along with the knees. Just adding a little bit of stretch and relief after some of the things that we've done earlier today. And then on your next breath, we're going to take a bridge pose. So reach down and see if you can't feel your heels. And if you can't, maybe just heel, or not really heel toe, but just squish your feet back with your toes towards your fingertips so you can feel your heels. And if you can't, it's okay. We're just working on alignment here a little bit. And then take your hands and just clasp them underneath your hips. Squeeze your shoulder blades underneath you. And I want to ask you right now just to listen to my voice and try not to look at your screen. Draw your chin towards your chest because we want to protect our necks here. So just listen to my voice. Squeezing your shoulder blades together, drawing your chin towards your chest. Maybe you look at the ceiling. And then on your next breath, go ahead and lift your hips. Think of those hip bones and just lift them up towards the ceiling. And as you're doing this, think of your thighs and just squeeze them in towards one another, almost as if there's a block there. Just squeeze. And as you breathe, you might even be able to inch up a little higher with the hips. And then on your next breath, go ahead and just come on down, bringing your hips all the way down. And then take your feet and press them together into a reclined butterfly. So your knees, now you can look at me. Your knees are out on either directions of your mat. Your feet are pressed, the soles of your feet are pressed together. And you can take your hands and just press your thighs to get a little deeper stretch into your butterfly. And if you find that your low back is really lifting up off the mat, just try to be mindful and draw it back down. Try to flatten it. Let's stay here for a breath. Breath travels up the spine. Breath travels down the spine. Nice. Then on your next breath, go ahead and bring your knees back together. And now let's heel toe out, knocking our knees together, setting up that little tent pose. And let's take a breath here. Breath travels up the spine. Breath travels down the spine. And then on your next breath, go ahead and heel toe the feet back and reach for your knees. Draw them into your chest and make some little circles right into that sacrum low back area. Just circle around, pressing that part of your back into the mat. You can think of it as the lumbar a little bit too when you're in the car. Have that lumbar that really supports the back. And just make sure you're reversing your circles. And then on your next breath, let's turn this into a happy baby. Bending the knees, feet up towards the ceiling, And then just reaching for either the big toe and the second toe. If you have sensitive toes, you can always just grab the outside edges of your feet. And you can play around here a little bit. You're still making little rocks, little circles, but if you want to straighten one leg, bend the other knee, and then do the opposite side, visualize a happy baby. Just take those movements, whatever feels right and good and organic. Nice work. And then on your next breath, let's meet up in a waterfall pose. Straightening the legs as straight as you can get them. The key here is looking at your toes and drawing those toes towards your forehead. You're really going to feel a nice stretch here. Take a deep breath in, deep breath out. And let's turn this into a reverse pigeon. It almost looks like an upside down number 4. So leaving your right leg straight, go ahead and bend the left leg, setting up the ankle, the left ankle right above that right knee. Toes are still going right towards your forehead on the right side. And then taking your hands, just reaching them through that number 4, and then on the other side, clasp them together and pull that right leg towards you. If you want a little deeper stretch, you can take your left elbow and press out the left thigh and make some little gentle rocks side to side. This is another great, great stretch if you have sciatica, low back pain. It's also great if you have trouble sleeping at night. If you just are tossing and turning, try this out with your breath and it will do wonders. Drawing those toes towards the forehead. Hearing your breath. Breath travels up the spine. Breath travels down the spine. And let's go ahead and switch that out. Same thing, just opposite side. Whatever you did on the right side, just do on the left. And then on your next breath, go ahead and bring your knees just to hover right over your hips. And bring your arms out to a T. You can cactus your arms if that feels good. I'm going to keep mine out in a T, and we're going to set up for a supine twist. So taking a deep breath in, exhale out. And let's go ahead and do one more like that, but turn it into a lion's breath. You can breathe out the mouth this time. So deep breath in, lion's breath out. Ha. Don't be afraid to make a noise. And then let's take another breath. And this time, let's lower the legs, lower the knees to the right side. So deep breath in. Exhale out. Let those knees just fall to the right side. Take your gaze over your left shoulder. If you want a deeper stretch, you can straighten that outside leg. Press it down over the bent knee. Let's stay here. Just stay for 2 breaths. Deep breath in. Deep exhale out, deep breath in, lion's breath out. And then on your next breath, go ahead and bring those knees right back up to hover. Take a deep breath in. Exhale out, let those knees come to the left side. Take your gaze over your right shoulder. And just a reminder here, keep your shoulders glued to your mat to get the full benefit. And then whatever you did on the right side, just go ahead and do that on the left side for 2 breaths. Breath travels up the spine. Breath travels down the spine. Inhale. Exhale. And then on your next breath, let's go ahead and release that and just draw your knees right back up over your hips to hover. Go ahead and press the soles of your feet together and let's slowly lower our feet down into that butterfly Supta Baddha Konasana pose. Maybe when you get to be about an inch off your mat, hold it for a breath. Inhale, exhale. And then fully relax, bringing your legs wide outside your mat. You can go ahead and draw your arms closer to your body palms facing the ceiling. Let's set up for Shavasana. Just do a little bit of a body scan. Thinking about the crown of your head, your forehead, and really softening in that little space right between your eyebrows. We furrow that area a lot. We don't even know it. So just soften right there. If your tongue is stuck to the roof of your mouth, just let it drop right into the low palate. If your teeth are clenched, move the jawbone side to side, just softening and relaxing through the face. Soften and relax through the shoulders, all the way down to your fingertips. Just melt right into your mat. Feel your breath as your chest rises and falls. Soften through your abdominal area. And then let go of any residual tension that you're holding onto in your hips. Hearing your breath in the back of your throat. Releasing any strain in your knees, all the way to your ankles and to your toes. Just melt right into your mat. We're going to stay here for 4 breaths. Closing your eyes, allowing yourself to be still. And if your mind begins to wander, just go back to your breath, or maybe go back to that intention you set at the beginning of class. And on your next breath, slowly begin to bring some awakening and movement back into your body, wiggling the fingers, the toes. Maybe you rotate those wrists, your ankles. You can bend the knees and windshield wipe your knees side to side. Hearing your breath. And then on your next breath, let's all meet up in a pencil stretch, reaching back with your hands, fingertips to the wall behind you, reaching with your toes to the wall in front of you. And let's turn everything back on. Squeeze everything, activate all the muscles, just ignite everything, almost as if you have a fire burning inside, squeezing your face, squeezing your biceps, all the way down to your toes. And then just release that and melt right back into your mat and go ahead and roll onto your right side body. So coming onto your right side. Deep exhale. One more just like that. Deep breath in. Maybe a lion's breath out. Gently, very slowly, press yourself back up into a comfortable seated position. However you started out today, whether it was cross-legged, sitting on your shins, or maybe the legs were out straight in front of you. And once we're all here, let's press our sit bones firmly into the mat. Let's take our shoulders, reach them up towards the ears, roll them back open, place our fingertips by our side body, and let's take another stretch. Inhale, arms up towards the ceiling. Clasp those palms together and then just draw them down to heart center. Spread your fingers wide. Thank you so much for joining me today for Gentle. I hope to see you again next week. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Namaste.